Okay, Baruch Hashem, welcome everybody. It's a big schus to get together to learn Sifrei Rabbeinu. We say usually at Tefillah that Hashem should, through this learning, He should, not only these teachings should penetrate our hearts, but we should be makusher to all the true tzaddikim that are alive, that have passed away, specifically Rabbeinu Nachman ben Fega, Zechutam Yagin Aleinu Val Kol Yisroel, Amen. Okay, also it's a tremendous schus because it's like mamish, almost like a week before Purim. This is like, this is like the Har Sinai of the year. This is really a big deal. It's mamish Har Sinai because like Himu v'Kiblu, the Jews accepted the Torah in a much deeper way, to connect to Hashem through love, to connect to acceptance of Hashem's will and a Torah Shabbal Peh with tremendous love. Remember the Gemara said that, there's an objection. When Hashem gave us the Torah, He held a mountain over our heads. It's a little bit of what we call a buzzkill, right? Why would Hashem hold the mountain over our heads? We said Nas v'nishma Hashem. Why are you holding the mountain over our heads? So they say it was that one of the answers they give is that we said Nas v'nishma with regarding Torah Shebechtav, but we didn't say Nas v'nishma about Torah Shabbal Peh. Torah Shabbal Peh, we were forced. Right? Hashem said, "Listen, it's a package deal. Either accept it or get ready for your grave." So then it says, so I think Rabbi says in Masechet Megillah that there's a big objection to that, that we were forced to keep the Torah, So it says that no, but nevertheless, in the days of Purim answers it. Why? Because Purim we accepted it with love. Like it says, Kimu v'kiblu haYehudim. The Jews established and they accepted. They established and they accepted. They accepted what was already established. A long time ago by Har Sinai, the fact that the Torah Shabbal Peh that was given over, that they had to accept, that was established, but now they accepted it. They re-accepted it, but with love. Purim's all about mamish loving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mamish, just I don't need anything in the world, I just need Hashem. That's all we need, just to get together and realize it's just to mamish get into HaKadosh Baruch Hu the whole day, and just to celebrate that nekuda, to dance with that, to drink with that, whatever you're doing, to mamish, to just completely merge with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with love and simcha tremendously. It's a very special day. But in order to get it deeper, let's learn some teachings of the tzaddik. We know that the Svarim say when we learn Chassidus, we put words of Emuna on our hearts. It has a power to sink in. Mitzvah Hashem person could have so much more powerful of an aliyah on Purim when we learn Chassidut together. So let's start on page Mem Zayin in Meshivat Nefesh, piece number Yud Zayin. Okay. HaTorah v'mitzvot hem rachavim ma'od, beli ketz v'tachlit. Right? It says that the Torah and mitzvot are very expansive. Right? It's very open. It has no end. L'chol tichla ra'iti ketz, like it says in the pasuk, that to all end that I've seen this ketz, to all the ketz, the end, rachava mitzvatecha ma'od. Your mitzvot are very expansive. V'ef shar la'sigam. We can't fully fathom the full depth of a mitzvah. Really. It's beyond us, right? V'al yidei zeh ikar ha'itgabrut v'itchazkut al yidei shiyodim she'en yodim klal. This is the main chizuk. That what? That we know, that we realize that we mamish don't know. That's the most gevaldig knowledge we could have in this world, to know that we have no idea. It's so blessed, and mamish, it ties into Purim so beautifully, right? We don't know the difference. We don't know diddly.
Rabbi, how much honesty do we have to drink?
It's a separate discussion. We'll talk about that. For each his own. It goes really by every person. You have to know where you're holding. I'm saying, depends how how you act, how you talk. If drinking is going to be a chas v'shalom yerida for you on Purim, it's probably better not to drink. But if it's done in a responsible way, that it could mamish bring you closer to Hashem with a good group of friends together, it can be a tremendous aliyah. Also want us to realize not to drive and to be responsible, so on and so forth. If it's within those guidelines of ushmartim me'odet nafshetechem, that one should guard his life, if it's into Torah, then beautiful. You could mamish, you could fly. I saw big Rabbanim, they drank on Purim, and amazing Torahs came out, and like really just like everything, there was no limits to the revelations, and the singing was so powerful, and certain parts in the Suda, one guy, like, he starts giving a speech and he cries. There's always a guy that starts crying, and everyone cries, like, oh my gosh, Hashem, It's like, it's a beautiful experience. And then we're mechazik each other, but nevertheless, we're going to get through this gullus, and we all dance, and you walk away, you went through Purim, it's like a new creation now, it's amazing. It could be tremendous,
I heard some Breslov rabbis don't drink at all, especially on Purim.
No, in Breslov in general they don't drink so much, but Purim, yeah, Purim, it's like Purim's Purim. It says chai v'nishal b'sumei. Again, if it's done responsibly, right? So this is the main chizuk that we have no idea what's flying really. That's the, we can get strength from that. Ki ikar heitchaskut al yidei shema'aminim b'hadat hakadosha. The main chizuk that we have is that what? That we give ourselves over to the dat shemeir lanu hatzadik ha'emes. That the true tzaddik shines upon us. Shemelo kol haaretz kavodo. That the tzaddik amiti, Rabbi Nassan says, has made known to us that Hashem's honor fills the world. There's never any space without godliness. That's something we really have to really know. And that's Rabbi Nachman's main motive, that he should get this across his Hasidim, that no matter what level you may find yourself, you should never, never despair. Never. Almost that as if it's so much in your blood, in your DNA, that even if you fall into the biggest yerida, it's already pre-programmed that you have to bounce back to Hashem. That's how much you have to have it inside of you. Melo kol haaretz kavodo. That's what the tzaddik's mission is. Aval teikef keshaboyin alav kushos. But as soon as a person, he starts having questions, he starts doubting, starts asking, va'afilu keshe kashe lo al atzmo, and then even when sometimes he starts questioning himself, right? Al shafal pichin hu pagum magusham kolkach. He says, but look at me, I'm like blemished, I'm like so physical, I'm an animal, kolkach v'rochok kolkach mekadushas Torah. I'm so far from the holiness of Torah. Hashem, come on, let's get real, Azai Teikef, when he starts with these questions about himself, Azai Teikef tzarech livroach mikol elu akushius. Right away, you have to run away from such questions. It's mumbo jumbo. It's baloney. You have to run away. You can't entertain those thoughts. What? I'm messed up and this. No. Just like just like those questions about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it could be very damaging. Those questions about having faith in yourself also is very damaging. You're a part of godliness. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has faith in you. The Baal Tanya says not Russia, but a Jew that falls, right? That he's doing an Avera. Who's giving him his breath at the time that he's doing the Avera? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no? Hashem is running the world. He's giving the guy his breath. The guy's rebelling against God. He's like, like the king. He's like, somebody's rebelling against him in front of his eyes. And he's like, smoothing the path for him, he's cushioning things for the guy. Like, what's going on? How can that be? Why don't you just zap the guy? These ruthless kings, off with his head, So what's going on? Because the Baal Tanya says, amazing. He says, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our Father in heaven, He has such rachmanis on us, He has such compassion on His children, that even when they're mamish rebelling against Him, He still gives them space. He still gives them life and breath and everything to work properly. Why? Because He has so much Emuna in us. Even when we're rebelling, He sees past all of that and He says, no, He's really good. He's going to come back to me. He's going to do tshuva. You'll see. It's unbelievable how much Emuna Kodesh Baruch Hu has in us. But then what happens? The Yetzer Hara tries to discourage us. We don't have faith in ourselves. We start bashing ourselves. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. You know how many guys they talk to? The main reason why they don't come too close to Kadosh Baruch Hu is because they look at themselves in a negative way. Like, I'm this, I'm messed up, I'm that, I'm like, you could play the violin, start crying. Do me a favor. Do you know how many more bigger Rashaim than you there were in the world? A person thinks it's, I'm the biggest Rasha, like forget it. Like all these things Rabbi Nachman's talking about, it's not talking about me. I'm talking about all the people, tzaddikim, holy people, me. It's mamish, it's a big mistake. Hashem Yirachem. And even when we start to say, that's what he's saying, these questions about ourselves. As I take if tzarech livroach, you have to run away. Mikol elu akushios, from these questions. Ki im yirtze letaretz akushios, because if a person wants to start answering these questions, azay yekanes bekushios unafilos amukos od yoter, then you could start. You get into deeper questions that are harder to answer. Alkein, so therefore it's better what? Lishtok b'machshavto. Just silence your thoughts. Lower the volume when it starts with all these all these bug outs, like sophisticated questions, like I don't know, this, that, Lower the volume. Ulakayim siag lachach mashtikan, and fulfill what it says in Pirkei Avos, the fence of wisdom is silence. Sometimes silence is good. It doesn't always have to be amplified. Rak lehiskaber bechol oz. The main thing is strengthen yourself with all your might. Lachtov eze nekudos tovos. Try to find some good things in your life, things that you have done. Kol ma sheyuchal. Whatever you could grab, whatever you could hold on to, certain things that are good. For example, Torah, mitzvahs, beautiful. Whatever you could grab. You sit on the couch, you take an English sefer, start learning. You start to feel that positivity. I'm with Hashem, I'm doing mitzvahs, I'm learning, I'm involved with Kedusha, Ubifrat, Tefillah, and how much more so, specifically when a person starts to daven, he opens his mouth, he talks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in his own words. V'tachnunim besicha lifnei kono, speech before one's Creator. V'livli listakel al kol ma she'over alav. Not to look at the stuff you went through in the past. Not to pay attention to that. Remember, Rabbi Nachman says the whole world says that forgetfulness is a very bad trait. He says, but I say it's a gift, right? Why? Because if we always remembered everything, we'd always be like broken. Remember all the sins we've done. Oh my gosh, this, that. But Hashem, we have a chance to forget. It's in the past. Move on. He says it's a godly thing. Hashem gave us that to us for a reason, so we could move on. What's the use? How many times we did in the Shiur that we learned that HaKadosh Baruch Hu recreates the world at every moment. So He recreated you too now. Start again. You could always start again. You know what I'm saying? That's the voice of Kedusha. That's the voice of the Tzaddik. The Rasha, the Yetzer Hara tells you, in the Zohar, they call the Yetzer Hara old, the old fool. Why they call him old? Because he comes with a staleness. Oh, you. Look what you did. What about last night, huh? You know what I mean? Like that voice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, And it haunts you. Even guys that 5 years have been learning this, that, all of a sudden, the Yetzer comes back. Oh, remember what the animal that you were 5 years ago. What the heck? You know what I'm saying? I thought you'd leave me alone after a while. No, it lies back there, waiting to jump on the prey. Mamish, you have to just do away with it. I don't care. Fine. I messed up, but there's such a thing as tshuva. A person could stand up. A person could start again. This war is the most powerful war. It's the war of our times. The war of facing this negativity inside of us and fighting against it and moving towards positivity. That's what Judaism's about. Not so many people talk about that, but that's what's really happening. The reason why most people don't really daven is because they're closed, they feel negative, they feel guilty, they feel sad about themselves. They've given up on themselves and their connection to God. They think they've made themselves into a category of, I'm like a sinner, this, that. I can't really connect, No. Even the Rabbi Nachman says, the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu shines on the lowest of all levels. Remember, we always say the parsha that the Torah was given was called Yisroel, right? Specifically, why it wasn't called Moshe, because he was someone that's so far, he came from such, lowliness. That's the greatest glory for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kitzurichin, because Rabbi Nachman says, Kitzurichin liyos akshan gadol ba'avodas Hashem. He says you have to be very stubborn. You have to be stubborn when it comes to serving Hashem. Ki be'emes ein yodim klal. Because what? Because the truth is, we don't know anything. We don't realize anything. We don't know how Hashem really views us. We don't see Hashem's compassion. We think guilt all the time. Rak lekayim. All that we know is to fulfill, right? Kemo shetzivanu Rabbeinu Zal, just like the tzaddik Rabbi Nachman has told us. Livli leyayesh et atzmo. Never give up. Never lose. Never have despair. B'shum ofen, in any situation. Never give up. Ki ein shum yeush be'olam klal. Because there is no despair whatsoever. There's no such thing. There's no justification to despair. There's never a point to say, you know what, I'm a goner. There's no point. It's impossible. It's not true. It's sheker. It's a fabrication. Remember that story? Somebody came to Rabbi Nachman and said, Rabbi, I'm messed up. I'm like this, that. He started spewing everything. So then Rabbi Nachman said all of a sudden, he was like, yeah, here, you're a mess. The guy was like, what? He's like, Rabbi Nachman's like, yeah, I don't know if there's what to talk about. Like, you're a goner. The guy was like, what? Like, this is Rabbi Nachman. He's like the big, he's the one that gives chizuk to everybody. He's like, Rabbi, what are you talking about? It can't be. He's like, I still put on tefillin today. And the Rabbi Nachman was like, yeah, it's true. You did put on tefillin. And the guy was like, I gave tzedakah. Isn't that worth anything? He's like, okay, yeah, you did give tzedakah. Rabbi Nassim stood on the side. He's like, it's amazing what the Rebbe did. The guy's coming up and giving up. There's no, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. The Rebbe says, okay, so yeah, let's go with that. You're a mess. You're nothing. You're doomed. And then he gets to the core of the Jew, and the core of the Jew is positivity, is a zamra, is finding the nekudas toes, and says, no, there must be something. Because ein shum yeush b'am klal doesn't exist. Yeush, despair doesn't exist. It's not true. It's a fabrication. It's a lie. It's not the neshama. It's just levels on top of the neshama. It's garbage. It's us listening to like Nirvana and all that stupid music. They're like, oh, despair. Whatever is on doors, whatever. All that trash. There's nowhere to go. Nothing else matters. I don't know, Metallica, whatever it is, it's all stupidity. It's all it matters. You moron. I don't know. You gotta wake up, people. Ein malasot. Even in Israel, ein malasot. Yesh malasot. You can do something. You can fix. The Rebbe says, if you believe that you could ruin, ta'amin she'echolim letaken. Believe that you could fix. Why are we so quick to believe that we could ruin? Everyone believes you could ruin. You could sin, you could go, you could break. So believe you could fix also. Why? We don't believe that too. If you have Emuna that you could ruin, then have Emuna that you could fix. It must mean that he's saying that just like we're quick to believe we have easy Emuna to believe that we could sin, everyone agrees a person could sin, yeah, for sure. So you don't think that you could fix? Have that Emuna too. That should be of course. That should be inside of us. Ein shum yeush b'olam klal. There's no despair really. Rak lichsof ulishtokek, to yearn and to desire v'litzapot b'chol eit liyeshuat Hashem, and to be able to be patient and wait for Hashem's salvation. That's another nekuda. We live in America. We want everything express. Instant, just like bam. Everything's at our fingertips, a few clicks here, this, that. I got to get to the website, everything, Starbucks, nobody makes coffee anymore, it's even the making coffee is quick. You know what I'm saying? Everything's quick. Everything's it's got to go. It's got to move, No one's patient anymore. No one's willing to wait things through and, experience. Everything's just it's becoming artificial. The whole world is, because of that, it's becoming very artificial. Even our taste buds, it has to be explosions has to go on in my tongue, when I eat something. Otherwise, it's bland. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So that can make your attitude a little bit dull when it comes to spirituality. Also, when it comes to spirituality, so you want to be like the Baba Sali or the Lubavitch Rebbe overnight. You want to feel all the heavens opening, you want to see the angels in Shmona Esrei and what the heck? It takes time, my friend Habibi. what I'm saying? Let's not fool ourselves. Step by step, you know? You got to work on yourself. It takes time. Like, oh, forget it, I can't. It's too hard, you know? People want to go get high or something, you know, because I got to feel the... You know, it says in the Zohar, all our souls is from a very high place because we're ready for the revelation. The closer we get to Mashiach, where our souls are ready for tremendous revelation. So our Judaism is supposed to be on fire. If it's not, then people want to get it elsewhere. They want action, right? And the Yetzer Hara is on the side of the road saying, I got plenty of action for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. We get together to realize the Rebbe turns you on fire. You know, Rabbi Nachman has this koch. When you learn his Svarim, it's unbelievable. You can tell usually, like a Breslover and a minyan, you see one guy, he's davening Shemona Esrei, you know, he's like, you know, his eyes closed, he's just rolling, you know, he's like, he looks like Yom Kippur, but it's on a weekday, you know, Shemona Esrei. You know, that's what the Rebbe could do. You know, there was one time when Rabbi Nachman was around, he was very controversial. You know, he's like this young little tzaddik, you know, that he was saying all these statements, you know, that I'm like the river because I can cleanse all stains, you know. It's like, who the heck is this guy, you know? So there was a group of Talmidim by this Rav. His name was Reb Yudel. They used to call him Reb Yudel. And he had a group in Europe that they used to daven more with the fire. They used to learn with the fire more. And one of them was going to take leave for like a few months, for like 6 months. He had to go, be by his in-laws, whatever. His in-laws lived in the same town that Rabbi Nachman was living at the time. It was known as Medvedevka. And when this Talmud wanted to leave, so Rabbi Yudel comes up to him. He says, listen, he says, you're going to Medvedevka? Fine. There's just don't bother going to this. There's a young tzaddik that lives over there. He's like, don't go to him. The guy's like, okay, fine, you know. Fine. I was conditioned, whatever, you know, everything should be well, and this, that, you should keep growing, and okay. The guy goes, he's in Medvedevka, and he doesn't have a group of Hasidim to really grow with. So what happens? He's going to all these regular places, regular minyanim, and he's getting lost. His Yiddishkeit's starting to, you know, the battery's starting to get weaker and weaker, right? You know, Shemona Esrei is getting quicker, and he's not feeling mitzvahs anymore, and like, he was like, what's happening to me? So I came to a point that he was like, listen, I can't live like this. I heard there's this young tzaddik around. Let me go see what it is. And he picks himself up and he comes to Rabbi Nachman. That's it. The flames were ignited. He starts talking to the Rebbe. He came to the wellspring of chizuk. And he completely flips. Like he's like, you know, he's davening with fire and learning and like, you know, nothing else matters in the world. So after 6 months, I mean, he in his head, in his neshama, he felt that like that's, you know, that's my Rebbe, you know. But he was coming back home, and he had his group that he came back to. So then he's davening, and then after davening, you know, he's still davening and this, that. All these like Talmidim from Reb Yudel, they get together and they start like coming around him. They start watching him, and they're all mumbling and staring at him. So then he finishes davening and he's like, "What's going on?" And then Reb Yudel says, "You went to that young tzaddik, didn't you?" And he says, "I admit, yeah, I did." And he's like, wait a second. And they turn around, they huddle again, right? And they start talking, they start mumbling. And then they turn around, Reb Yudel says, "We've decided we're all going to go see this young tzaddik." They all pick up, like 50 families. They go, they pick up, they travel all the way to Rabbi Nachman. And one by one, they became Breslov Hasidim. Every single one. They were looking for the emes. They just heard all these rumors. Oh, he's controversial. What is there controversial? The Rebbe is screaming, just attach yourself to Hashem. What's so controversial about it? It's ridiculous. People are against the Breslov. Like, what are you so against? He just wants you to connect to Hashem. The one rabbi told me once, don't talk about Hispodidus in my shul. What is Hispodidus? Hispodidus is talking to God. I can't talk to other people about talking to God in your shul. I don't know, what are you like? You're a Satan worshiper? Like, what are you? I don't understand. Like, what's going on? Don't talk about it. It was a real thing.
He was on Breslov like that.
The Rebbe said, you know what? When Mashiach comes, when people say, oh, but there's a machlokus and so, that there's a machlokus about this Rav, they're going to use Rabbi Nachman as a proof to show that how machlokus is so ridiculous. It's giving you a point of reference, like, well, yeah, there was also machlokes against Rabbi Nachman, and that's like retarded, right? Like it's going to be so obvious that it's like ridiculous, right? He said this is all part of like the light of the tzaddik in Gullus has to be covered somewhat in order for that to be free will. If it was all the light of Rabbi Nachman shined everywhere, forget about it. Mashiach would be here. There'd be no balance. There'd be no Yetzer Hara anymore. There wouldn't be a need to do a sin. Everyone would be in bliss and flying with Hashem. You know what I'm saying? So in order that there should be a free will, and in order that His light can still come out, secretly, there has to be machlokas. He said it was a gift from Hashem, machlokas. It's very interesting.
But what about the other people on the other side of the machlokas? Are they going to get whacked or no?
Hashem Yirachem. Certain. There's a reason why they're on the other side of the fence. It's very scary. I don't know why. I don't know what gave us the merit that we're on this side of the fence. It's such amazing merit that we realize this. I speak to guys in cholei, and we had a little personal. We talk about Emuna, this, that. And I talk to them, how do you feel, how's your relationship with Hashem, And they're like, bro, I'm like, why don't you try talking to Hashem? And one guy said, I feel so closed from Hashem that I would rather, pay you than talk to Hashem. I can't, And this guy learns in cholei, you learn in cholei. You know what I'm saying? Right? He feels so. He's so scared. He'd rather pay and not to. He was just trying to give an example, how distant he feels. It's his way of saying, I don't know, but that's the point. Yeah, it's the Rebbe wants to just open our neshamas, just enjoy Yiddishkeit, be free, be open, sing, dance. He wouldn't get so makbid about things, like angry and certain things. He would. One of the things he got very upset about. If you don't sing on Shabbos, you know what I'm saying? Some of you Rabbanim scream in the world, oh, you're sin, you're going to hell, Yeah. You'd be like, oh, you're not singing on Shabbos. It's like the most positive thing in the world, But yeah, you got to sing. You got to feel simcha. You know what I'm saying? A certain Rav, a big gadol in Eretz Yisrael, said he had one son that went off the derech. And when they asked him later, why do you think this happened? He said, you know what? He said, I probably didn't sing enough on Shabbos. I don't think I sang, because he said I would always be interested in going back to the Beis Medrash, so I'd have my Shabbos meal really quickly, so I could go with my two oldest sons back to the Beis Medrash, and we could just learn Gemara and stuff. So the other one that wasn't so gifted in learning, he would always just be left out, and he wasn't experiencing Judaism. I should have sang at the table. We have to give this over to our kids with simcha, with fire. We have to follow the Rebbe's derech. It's very important. The Rebbe says before Mashiach comes, Hashem would take all the four corners of the world and shake it like a cloth, right? If we don't have what to hold on to, we could fly away. What can we hold on to? The tzaddik. The tzaddik, his advice, his derech, all these things, all the things that the Rebbe is saying is gold. All these things, it's unbelievable. There's never despair. That the mamish get that deep, so deep that you could give it over to other people. You could be mechazik yourselves, your wives, your children. It's a very important thing. I'm speaking to myself, mamash. It's such an important nekuda to have it inside of us. That's what a Breslover is. Okay, let's go to the next shtickle. Yud Chet Chai. Let's see what this is about. Okay, we're doing okay. Lifa'amim nidme laha'adam hashomea o ma'ayin besvarim. Sometimes it seems to an individual that hears like a vort, or he looks into some of the svarim. Veroeh hitchazkut shechizku otanu at tzadikim amitim. He sees a chizuk that the true tzadikim are giving, advice, strengthening that the true tzadikim are giving to us. V'talmideim and their students habayim acharehem, and he sees the important devar Torahs that their students are giving afterwards. V'hodiu lanu. Specifically, that they make known to us that what? Like we just said, she'ein shum yeush ba'olam, that there is no despair whatsoever. And not only that, but they also go on, va'afilu im nafal kemoshe nafal, and even if one falls to where he falls, meaning on the lowest rungs, he says it straight out, I'm not making it up, it's in the Sefer, Rachman al-Itzlan, Right? He actually throws in Rahman al because that can mean even the mamish, the bottom of the barrel. Afal pichein, nevertheless, listen to this. He says to them that what? Hashem ito. Hashem is still with you no matter what. Ve'imo. Ve'etzlo. These are all expressions of that, how he's next to you. V'samuchlo, and he's near to you. Ki melo kol ha'aretz kevodo. Like we said before, because Hashem's honor fills the world, meaning all of even the lowest rungs. V'gam misham mitzape Hashem yizbarach. And also over there, on the lowest of all levels, Hashem is waiting for you. Liteshuvato, for you to return. Be'ezim adregashu, whatever level that could be. Now, this is what the tzaddik tells us. This is Rabbi Nachman's main campaign, right? Now, look what happens. Ach machmas chalishu zadas sheyesh lo mimasov sheinum tovim. Since a person feels discouraged from all these bad things that he's done, he sees his own bad actions. Right? Ki yada inish menafshe, that's a term that means everyone knows for himself, his actions, right? V'nid melo shehu garua min hakol. It seems to him, a person pictures himself, that he's like the lowest from all other people, because he has such bad actions. Velo alav nemar dvarim halalu. He says to himself, you know what? These things, like we said before, these things that Rabbi Nachman is saying, they're not about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you how many times I give a shiur, and then sometimes the guy is like, Rabbi, I'm telling you, but me, I'm like, I'm a goner. I'm mamish. I'm rock bottom, bro. I'm like, I can't get out of the stuff that I'm in. I can't get out of it. Every guy's like, you're like, what the heck? You think he's not talking to you? He's talking to the lowest of all levels. I don't understand. Guy, because he pictures his own. That's exactly what he's saying. The guy he sees his own bad actions, and he says that no, this is not. It can't be that this includes me. Hagam ki tzadikim be'eru b'ferish. Even though the tzadikim explain explicitly. Shehem medaber mafilu im hagaruah shebegaruim, that they're speaking about even the lowest of the low. Even though the tzaddikim have said that explicitly. Afal pichen nidmelo ki'ilu hem rotzim rak lefatot. This sometimes happens. It seems to them that as if they're trying to convince him that what? They're trying to seduce him, so to speak. Like to try to tell the guy, no, you're really not that bad. Even though I know that I'm mamish messed up, and who knows, God forbid, what a Gehenna I have ahead of me. They're just trying to tell me that I'm not so bad. It's not true though. You know what I mean? Kedei shelo yipol. They want me not to do more sins. Right? So they're just trying to tell me, no, Hashem's really with you, don't worry, Bubba mices. It's not true though. It's mamish unbelievable how the Yitzhar works. They're telling me this stuff so that I shouldn't sin more, right? Od yoter v'yeh garua od yoter, so I shouldn't even ruin even more, Rahman al-Islam. It's going on these twisted logics. When people hear that we're saying, when
but
people...
it's true sometimes, the rabbis made up something about, I remember I was reading this also in Sefer, one rabbi, I asked him, if you get a tattoo, some rabbi told me that you can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery.
Yeah.
And then he's like, that's not true. He showed me Sefer where the rabbis only did it to scare the people that were trying to do it so they wouldn't do it.
Wait, is it true though? What's the halacha?
No, it's not true. And some rabbis say that they make a fence around you or something, so you're not part of the thing, but it's BS.
Yeah, who knows? We have to be emet. We have to be emet. We can't make up stuff.
But it's true whatever the guy's saying then.
No, but he's saying the flip side. He's saying when they're saying to you that no, Hashem's really with you, and don't worry, ain't shum yosh come, never despair. No matter even if you're on the lowest of levels, don't worry, you could do tshuva, you could come back. Be like, that's not true. They're just trying to tell me that so I don't sin more and stuff. Right. But that's baloney. No, I'm really messed up. I'm really gonna get crazy Gehenna, God forbid, and
Yeah, people tell them that though.
On the flip side, right? On the other way, even what's emet, they try to flip around. Listen to this. Aval ha'emet, but the truth is, hu yodea benafsho pechituto. This guy himself knows his lowliness, right? Veshifluto. V'she'Hashem yisbarach rachok mimenu. He knows that Hashem is far from him, very much, me'od. Ukavar avda tikvaso chas v'chalila. He thinks that his hope is gone. He doesn't have hope. He's a goner. V'kayotze. Such types of logic goes on in this person's head. Bechalishus unafilus. By the way, these are all results of sins. Whenever a person sins, they say you create a malach. So where does this malach go? It flies off to the heavens and just waits, chills. It's like some loft party somewhere up there. Where does it go? Where does this malach go? Goes in your head, sticks around your neshama, and starts whispering. When you want to progress in holiness, it tells you, nah, it's that voice. You can't do it. Whenever you pass by an Avera, remember me. You know what I'm saying? You want it. All those voices. That's where it goes. That's where it's manifest. So the Rebbe, look at this. It's unbelievable. You're talking about Kedoshim, Rabbeinu, Reb Nassan. The Rebbe, it says about the Rebbe, he didn't taste the taste of sin. He didn't. He would from the day he was born, he was breaking Yetzaharas. Can you imagine this kid? He used to go around when he was 6 years old. He used to go around to pretend he's collecting coins. He'd come up to me I have 5 cents. Can you give me 5 pennies? And you would give it to him. You think, okay, he's a little kid. He's collecting pennies. He would go to shul when no one's looking. A 6-year-old kid. He would take the tzedakah box. He opened the siddur. He turned to l'shem yichud. He would take 1 penny, the unification. L'shem yichud is a Kabbalistic prayer on doing a mitzvah and unifying God's name. And he used to take it and say, l'shem yichud, kodesh b'richu. He used to scream it out. And then drop 1 penny. And then he would take out another penny. Be now this is a separate mitzvah. It's a new mitzvah of tzedakah. So again, he would say l'shem yichud, and that's why he was collecting pennies. He realized when he was a kid, he realized that he doesn't want to have pleasure from this world, because pleasure from this world could take him further away from godly consciousness. If he starts eating and enjoying the food too much, he's not thinking about God when he's eating. He's thinking about, the macaroni and cheese, whatever he's eating, right? So he said, you know what? He's going to try not eating during the week. I'm trying not eating. And then he was getting all weak and he couldn't survive, right? So then he said, okay, what can he do? He has to eat, but in order not to take pleasure from the food, what's he going to do? He's going to make it into small pieces, and he's just going to swallow the food without chewing, so that he doesn't have to have pleasure from his taste buds and this, that. And then he started getting throat problems. His throat started swelling a little bit. He was swallowing all his food. So then he came to the realization, okay, but he has to have kavana and he'll daven to Hashem. He's a 6-year-old. What the heck is going on? You know what I'm saying? He's a 6-year-old. All the kids are playing with a G.I. Joe. Or whatever, whatever they played in Europe. I'm saying, how can that be? These stories they say about big tzaddikim in the world, that they were reaching these levels. So how could it be that Rabbi Nachman and Rabbi Natan, look what they're doing. They're talking to us with such logic that your Yetzirah is going to say this, and it's going to come around and say no, like this. You're going to think that all this stuff doesn't apply to you. It's amazing how they have captured the Yetzirah. It says that you're supposed to, when Esav was coming, it says that Yaakov, he made plans of war. He made 3 different ideas, give gifts, right? One of them was to daven, and the other one was to, right, get ready. So Rabbi Nachman's giving us tactics of war. It's amazing how the tzaddik has such a power of vision, because it says the holier the tzaddik, the higher he goes, the lower he's able to see. He could see what's going on. It's like our psychology. It's amazing. That's why when I saw this stuff, it really spoke to me, because it's dealing with my Yetzirah. So look what he says. So he says again from the beginning of the line, the guy thinks that Hashem is very far from him. As if Hashem, third line, as if Hashem, as he has no hope, God forbid. There are such type of weakenings, and this is how people fall and get discouraged. This is all tactics of the Yetzer Hara that he wants to seduce you, uladicho miderech ha'emes, and to push you away from the path of truth. Now, aval otam shezachu leikalel betoch hakibutz hakadosh, but those individuals that merit to be part of the holy gathering. What gathering he's talking about? I think what he's talking about is the gathering that the Jews that go to the tzaddik, right? Especially, we know, like once a year, it's a big pilgrimage. A bunch of Jews, maybe 40,000 Jews from all over the world, they pick up and they go to a big tzaddik that's buried in Uman, right? Seeing such individuals, right? Also, how much more so? In Breslov they held that the Rebbe was a continuation of the neshama of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. That it wasn't a contradiction, it wasn't a stira. And the Rebbe, on the way to Uman, he started revealing secrets about the soul of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. And he explained how that was the soul of Moshe Rabbeinu. But then he paused and he says, and now in the world there is a nachal novea mekor chachma, right? Which is the Roshi Tevis of his name, the flowing brook of wisdom. And Reb Nosson was ready to explode. He was like riding with him in the wagon. He was ready to just go out of his mind because the Rebbe was revealing that now this is the tzaddik. It's unbelievable. One time Reb Nosson actually went to run out in the middle of a shiur because he's literally ready to explode. He just went to run the streets and be like, "You guys are crazy! The tzaddik's right here. You're all dreaming." So then someone, like right before he started, he was like, "That's it!" Like right when he's like ready to hit the door, like he sees somebody's hand goes like, somebody grabs him to stop him. And he's like, "Someone stop! Who's stopping me?" He turns around, he sees it's Rabbi Nachman, and then the Rebbe says to him, "He's like, don't bother. They're not going to listen to you." That's the way it is. The tzaddik's light is hidden. You know what I'm saying? But the Rebbe's talking tremendous chizukim for it. It's unbelievable. So these Jews that actually pick up, they invest the money, whatever. Right now it's like $770. It's a very cheap price for the tickets to Uman. Right. It's interesting. Wow. Go there and bring it all together. There's a Chabad minyan there. So those that are zoche to go to be part of the gathering, how chazin atzman b'tzadik, those ones that hold themselves to the tzadik ha'emes. You want to know? It's so interesting that Svardim took to this in such a beautiful way. The first time I saw a Svardi Breslover, that I saw these guys go to the Arizal's mikveh, like two guys. And it was a very weird scene because I never saw this before. Like one guy was in the mikveh, was dipping like, I don't know how many, it's freezing. I don't know if you know, like usually guys go in there, they dip once, twice, and said like, get me out of here. So one guy was dipping in there like, and then another Sephardi guy was standing there outside the mikveh holding a robe, right? No, so that it was like his coach, and like the guy comes out, he puts the robe on him, he like starts massaging. He's okay. You still have another like 126. And then he takes the robe off. He goes back. He's okay. He says, I'm like, well, what's going on? So I'm like, I don't want to mess with these guys. They look like really serious. So then I said, I said to one of them, I said, how many times is this guy dipping? And he said some gematria, some like 400 and I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. So I'm like, who says such a thing? I was like, really, like, ooh, Uh-oh. So he's like, and then he just gave me this look. After he said this, I didn't say one word. He just looks right in my eyes. He's like, Rabbeinu. I was like, okay. At that time, I didn't know who Rabbeinu was. When the Svarim said Rabbeinu, I didn't know. But maybe he's talking about the Arizal, and like he was a simple Svardi, but like he was like now you're stepping on my Emuna. You know what I'm saying? Don't step on my Emuna. Like back off. But they hold themselves like the Rebbes, they're tzaddik. I heard two Svardi. My friend told me two Svardi guys were talking in Uman. They were like looking at the crowd, and they were like, I don't know what all these Ashkenazim are doing here. You know what I'm saying? I say, look at Rabbeinu. He's like, What are they doing here? They're like Rabbeinu Sephardi. Like they look at him, that's it. Like he's Rabbeinu. Like it's Ben Ish Chai Rabbeinu. Like what? So it's unbelievable how there's people, they hold themselves to the tzaddik. It doesn't matter, Sephardi, Ashkenazi. In the world of souls, it doesn't matter. People are like, I had very small-minded Sephardi Rabbanim I interacted with. They were like, oh, you can't teach this because we're Sephardi. Like, we're talking about Emuna. Well, we don't have Emuna, we're Sephardi? I don't understand. He's not telling you to change halacha. This is not a halacha sefer. I mean, he tells you to learn Shulchan Aruch every day. Even how much more is he standing up for the Bet Yosef, right? But some people, they just don't get it. In the world of souls, it doesn't matter. It's all one. The Arizal, we're Sephardi, right? So the Ben Ish Chai, whenever he quotes the Arizal, you know what he says? He actually uses the term Rabbeinu. He called the Arizal Rabbeinu. That was like he held of him to be like the Rebbe of Am Yisrael. So the Arizal himself, let's take a look, right? Sephardim go, most things, the Arizal, the Ari, right? Was the Ari Sephardi or Ashkenazi? His mother was Sephardi, his father was Ashkenazi. How do you like them apples? You know what I'm saying? What's up with that? We're Sephardi. The Arizal was Ashkenazi. We're like, come on, do me a favor. Well, we stood on our Sinai, he's Sephardi, he's Ashkenazi. Well, we're all one. We're all brothers. It's a sickness. So we have to know that these people that hold themselves to the tzaddik, that travel to the tzaddik, they believe that this is the Rebbe, this is the tzaddik of Am Yisrael, and they believe be'emet u'be'emuna sheleima ki kol divrei tzaddik, that all the words of the tzaddik ve'itchazkuto eino b'derech pesher. They know that the Rebbe is not trying to convince them. He's not trying to lie. The Rebbe is not lying here when he says Hashem's still with you, never despair. They realize it's not pitui v'asatat chas v'shalom, that he's trying to seduce you, to convince you in something. Rak kachu ha'emes la'amito. They realize, the Breslovers realize that he's speaking truth. He's speaking emet.
Absolutely.
Right? Ki begodel hasagata matzuma hisigu emet. Right? Because from their tremendous wisdom, these tzaddikim, the true tzaddikim, they realized what the emet la'amito is. That what? Ki rabim rachama v'chasada v'yisbarach, that Hashem's compassion is tremendous. Ad ein cheker, there is no boundary to Hashem's compassion. V'choshev machshavos levilti yidach menu nidach. And these tzaddikim are constantly thinking thoughts that a Jew is never rejected. Never. There's never a guy could be like, that's it, you're out. Afilu mi shekavar nidach legamre, chas v'shalom. Even someone that was booted out entirely, even him, he can come back. That only the tzaddik could do this. V'chol hadiburim she'atzadikim machazkim otanu, and all these words that the tzaddikim have patiently said to strengthen us, umenachamim otanu, and that give us consolement, umeorerim, that awaken us, umekitzim otanu leida, for us to know, ki adayin Hashem itanu, that Hashem is still with us, ubim komenu, He's still in our place, mamash, ki melo kol haaretz kavodo. Lo mi libam hotziu dvarim elu. They didn't make this stuff up out of their hearts. They didn't say, oh, you know what, I have a good pshat. No. Rakhim divrei Hashem mamash. These are the words of God. Vehu yisbarach ba'atzmo hudia lanu adiburim. Hashem Himself is making known these words to us. Hakadoshim alalu al yedei hatzadikim talmidem, through the tzadikim. Hashem is speaking to us, Hakadoshim. Shenish'aru achar kach, and the students that have come afterwards, of the followers of the tzadikim. Histalkutam leida ki adayin Hashem yitbarach imanu, that for us to know the main message that Hashem is still with us, bechol dor v'dor, in every single generation. V'lo yazov otanu, He will not abandon us, la'olam, ever. Ad yechonen v'yasim et Yerushalayim, until He will get ready the holy city of Yerushalayim, tehila ba'aretz, that will be the splendor, the praise of all land. Until He restores Yerushalayim, He will never let us go. Ula'atid, and in the future, Lavo yisku liros. People will come and we will have the merit, all of us, every single one of us, to see Zos, to see this thing, be'einehem. Everyone will see with their own eyes, mamash. Bebechinas v'nigle kavod Hashem, when the honor of God will be revealed. V'ro, and the end of the passage is V'ro kol of se'aretz. Everyone will see the truth of Hashem. Kipi Hashem diber, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be speaking to us. That these words of the tzaddik is the words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Unbelievable tool, right? Amazing power. So for us to know, that's our mission. That we have to know, we get together here on Wednesday nights to plant this in our hearts. We're coming close to Purim. Purim was a microcosm of this whole thing that we just read. This whole up and down, we felt rejected, this, that, but really Hashem, we realize that Hashem's with us and He loves us, and behind the scenes He's doing everything to bring us close to Him. That's the whole message of Purim. Right? Why do you think we wear masks? To realize that this whole thing is a mask. This world, all this, it's just a trip. It's not true. It's a Kodesh Baruch Hu behind everything. Hashem sent Haman, Achashverosh, all these things that were taking place was in order to awaken us up, that we should realize that no, that there is hope. You should know the feast of Achashverosh. We spoke about this a little bit. Remember? That it had to do with the inyan of giving up. Forget about it. Forget about the importance, the uniqueness of Judaism, how Hashem loves you. He's not going to save you. That's why they took out the vessels of the Beis HaMikdash and they just partied with it. It doesn't matter. There's no Beis HaMikdash. There's nothing, something special. You might as well just like party. That's it. Mordechai told us, no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us. Never give up. And he went up to every individual and told every Yid that you're so important and you have a role. And he built us back up. And that's what we do. We sing Shoshanas Yaakov Tzohola V'Samecha, right? That Shoshanas Yaakov, the flower of Yaakov, which is Am Yisrael. Tzohola V'Samecha, we started rejoicing. What does it say? Birosam Yachad Techeles Mordechai. When we saw the Techeles Mordechai, what does that mean? Why does it say Hashem? When we saw the tzaddik, when we saw Mordechai wearing the techeles, wearing the royal attire, but techeles specifically, why? Because techeles, remember, techeles is the inyan of you look at techeles. It's supposed to remind you of the ocean. The blue of the ocean reminds you of the blue of the sky. The blue sky, the kisa kavod. It's supposed to remind you of Hashem. When we saw the techeles of the tzaddik, then we were besimcha. Because when you look at the true tzaddik, what you walk away with is Emuna and strength. Hashem loves me. My avoda matters. These struggles I'm going through on my head, these are the battles of Mashiach Tzidkenu. And I'm going to fight it. I'm going to be a warrior. I'm not going to be a wuss, a wimp. Oh, I can't, man. No, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to daven. I'm going to learn with fire. That's what the tzaddik does to an individual. And that's what we have to do in Mitzvah Hashem this Purim, to get that das inside of us. One, to realize that we mamish don't know anything. That we don't know. Hashem runs the show. What do I know? Right? And the second thing, to realize no matter where a Jew is, Ein shum yush b'olam klal. Never despair. Hashem's always with us. Mitzvah Hashem, we should see this revelation take place in front of our eyes. And we should see all of Am Yisrael come to Yerushalayim, Yer Kodesh, Amen. Shkoyach. Ashreinu matov chelke, v'zachi lizkarev l'Rabbeinu. Ashreinu matov chelke, v'zachi lizkarev l'Rabbeinu. Ayuman uman Rosh Hashanah, uman Rosh Hashanah, uman Rosh Hashanah. Shezachim never know. Maybe we'll switch to like a little like mellow. But shkayach.